Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of NASCAR Heat 3 Career Mode. Today we decide the 8 drivers that will compete to make a Final Four position here going into the next 3 races as we go to Kansas today. A track that I struggle at a lot, so I knew coming into this race we might not do very well, but we're locked in on points, so we're really just kind of here to see who are going to be the 8 drivers that make it to the next round. But first we have the Xfinity race for Derek Kraus for the first race of the round of 8 in the Xfinity Series. He started down in about the 13th position or so as he came through alongside the 60 of Ty Majeski there through turns 1 and turns 2 on the inside of Matt Tifft. As he came out of turn 2, he was just trying to work his way forwards the best he could after a fairly poor qualifying effort as he went down towards turn 3. He would work his way forwards a little bit, but he did struggle there as you see him get pretty loose there, actually getting hit by Ty Dillon, and he would work his way up to P10 trying to make a move for P9, and as he slowly would just work his way forwards, he really needed a solid finish here if he wants to get into this Final Four in the Xfinity Series. And by the time he came to the final lap, he was on the inside of the 4 of Ross Chastain. As he went into turn 3, he would move up into the 7th position to take over an extra position. And any point right now could be huge for Kraus as he comes through the tri-oval. He would come through in Kansas to finish in the 7th position. So a decent finish to say the least, but it wasn't going to be good enough for this team as you're about to see on the point standings. He is now 10 points out of the Final Four, so certainly some work to do for the team here in the Xfinity Series. So hopefully we can figure something out and get into that Final Four. But now it's time to set our sights on the Cup race for the Kansas race once again. Obviously, 8 drivers will come out of here in the playoffs, and 4 drivers are about to be eliminated. Kurt Busch could be one of them. He wrecked the last episode, and that was a huge playoff implication, so who knows what's going to happen going into this race here in Kansas. But we come to our qualifying efforts in Kansas. We'll actually show you the point standings real quick before we go in. Actually, there you see the drivers on the outside looking in. Kurt Busch, Brad Keselowski, Eric Jones, and Chase Elliott. Those 3, the first 3 can point their way in, but Chase Elliott, he needs to win as we come into Kansas, and we made it to the second session going through turns 3 and 4. We usually qualify pretty bad here and run pretty bad at this track, and it's going to happen again here in Kansas today as we come through to cut the apron here. Coming to the end of our lap, we would go up to P4 with a 30.477, and I would call it there, and we will start P16 here in Kansas. So let's move forwards.
Today, the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series returns to Kansas City, Kansas for the running of the Hollywood Casino 400. We're halfway through this year's playoff season, and after today, the list of playoff contenders will be cut from 12 to 8. In 2017, Martin Truex Jr. became the first driver to sweep both races at this 1.5-mile tri-oval on his way to his first ever NASCAR Cup Championship. Will Truex Jr. continue his recent dominance here, or will another driver emerge victorious and cement their spot in the next round? Let's head down to the track as the action is just about ready to get underway.
All right, we are ready to go green here in Kansas. Martin Truex Jr. starts on the pole position. Joey Logano will start down on the front row as well. In the second position, Matt Benedetto sent to the back after failing optical scanning station multiple times, and we are getting ready to go green and here in Kansas from the 16th starting position behind the 9 of Chase Elliott, who is in a must-win situation now as the green flag is out, and we are underway for the final race in the round of 12 here in Kansas now, as we're going to give a little bit of a shot to the bumper for Chase Elliott now as we head down towards turns 1. Martin Truex Jr. leads into the corner over second place of Joey Logano, Kevin Harvick, and Kyle Busch behind them on the second row now as we come through turns 1 and 2. Truex out to an early lead as he is certainly in need of a good run if he wants to make sure he's into the next round, as he is not in the best shape as he did have an incident last episode in Talladega. And immediately you're going to see me jump up to the top line because that's where I feel the most comfortable at this racetrack, because we struggle so much with the setup now as we come through to complete this first lap in Kansas. And we do go 3 wide with Chase Elliott, who's in a must-win situation for a moment now as we go into turns 1, continuing to use the outside line to build up as much momentum as possible as we get ahead of Paul Menard in the 21 now alongside Chase Elliott, who puts us into the wall as we come down the back straightaway. Certainly being a little bit aggressive of him. It might have been my fault. I shouldn't maybe have been up there that early, but certainly Elliott ran us out of room there as we come through turns 3 and 4. And we're not going to get any payback or anything on Elliott. You guys might want me to for that, but I decided no. no, because he's in a must-win situation. We're not going to go and ruin his chances, although he's already certainly looking like he might not have a chance to make it to the next round. As we did get to his inside as we were approaching lap 4, trying to move up into the 12th position. I was expecting a very poor finish in this race. We have never finished in the top 10 in Kansas. We were close earlier in the season, and then I choked it away. And now as we get very sideways out of turn 2, we do hang on to the car, and that would allow Elliott to build back up some momentum, and he would be able to get clear of me as we went into turn 3. And we were just struggling really bad. Like, I was struggling more than usual at this track to work my way forwards, and by the time we came to lap 7, still in this group with Elliott and Kurt Busch and other cars who were trying to make their way into the next round, as we would jump up to the top line again, trying to make it work. Now as we come out of turn 4, a bit of a checkup from the 2 of Keselowski as we give him a shot to the bumper now as we come through to cross the stripe, just sitting in the 12th position, as we certainly at this point have a chance to get into the top 10 if we can stick with this group of cars. And as Joey Logano up ahead in front of Kyle Busch, he is certainly one of the big 4 drivers, so he's got nothing to worry about here in Kansas, as he is pretty much locked in to the next round as well. Now as we come through turns 3, just really struggling. Even the top line I'm certainly faster on, but I was struggling even to make the top line and get myself up ahead, so it certainly wasn't looking like we were in shape for the best finish here in Kansas now, as we hit lap 9 of 19 in this first stage, battling alongside our teammate of Eric Almirola, who is certainly in a close situation as well when it comes to making the round of 8 now as we come out of turn 2. So we would get past Almirola, and we would eventually fall down still to P13 by the time we came to the white flag in the stage. All those cars up ahead had driven away at this point, and it was just myself, Clint Boyer, Ryan Blaney, and Alex Bowman all together now on this final lap in the stages. Boyer, he goes way up the track, almost into the wall now as we come down the back straightaway. A chance to maybe make a move on his inside as we head down towards turn 3 for the final time in stage 1, pushing up the track, and that's going to help Boyer out as we come through the center of the corner. We get a little bit sideways and hang on to the car, and Boyer gets ahead as we would come through to get 13th in the first stage in Kansas. So certainly a rough first stage for myself, and I knew kind of that would set the tone for the rest of this race for myself. Jimmy Johnson, a very poor stage for him, and Kyle Busch did win stage 1 to get an extra playoff point going into the next round as we would get ready to go green. We did not lose any positions on pit road, so that's always a good sign. Now as we get ready to go green to start the second stage here in Kansas. The green flag is out now as we are underway for stage 2 in Kansas on the inside of our teammate of Clint Boyer, behind Ryan Blaney in the number 12 as he tries to keep his playoff hopes alive. He barely made the playoffs. He was about to get eliminated, but he pulled off a victory in the Daytona race, the second Daytona race, and now he finds himself competing to make it to the round of 8 now as we come out of turn 2 side by side as we make contact with our teammate Boyer, and we go into him again as we go sideways now as we come back up the track just about in front of traffic with a huge save now as we go into turn 3. I could not believe we just made that save as we come alongside the 24 of William Byron, one of the bigger saves I've ever made in this game for sure. And as soon as I made the second hit with Boyer, the more heavier hit, I thought I was done right there. I was definitely going to take someone out, but we slid down the track in the car. I turned the wheel back right, obviously, to get back on the racing track, and as soon as it turned right, the back end kicked out again, and I thought I was going head on into somebody, but we got very fortunate there to hang onto the car, so maybe a bit of a second chance for myself in this race, as if we would have came back up into traffic and caused a big crash, we would have certainly had to quote-unquote DNF the car, as we do that in our career mode. If we have a big enough hit and do enough damage to the car, we will DNF out of the race. Now as we come through turns 1 and 2, trying to settle back in as we get sideways again there on the seam as we come through turns 1 and 2, just trying to settle back in and get into a rhythm, because this has certainly not been a good race for myself so far. And as we come down the back straightaway, we look to the inside of the 17 of Ricky Stenhouse Jr. as they battle 3 wide up ahead between Johnson, Hamlin, and Austin Dillon as we come out of turn 4, moving into the 18th position, and we would slowly work our way forward up to the 15th position by the time we came to lap 11, behind Kurt Busch and Almirola, the 2 playoff drivers as well, as they try to battle into the round of 8. We would look to the inside of our teammate Almirola. He may be in a tight situation, but we're not going to do him too many favors right now, as we have to try and get ourselves up towards the front now as we come through the tri-oval, moving into that 14th spot over our teammate of Eric Almirola with just 6 to go in the second stage, and this was as far as we would get in the second stage. We got past Almirola, and at this point the car was really starting to fall off later in this run, and by the time we came to 2 to go, approaching the white flag, we didn't get any farther. Like I said, still trying to close in on Kurt Busch as we approach the final lap in this second stage. And Kurt Busch certainly looking like he's going to be very close to making this round of 8 with these two poor stage results right now as we go through turns 1 and 2 for the final time. He slips up here in the final time in stage 2 through turns 1 and 2. You see Martin Truex Jr. up ahead, I believe, in 12th, as he is certainly close as well to making this final round of 8 as we head down into turns 3 for the final time in stage 2, close to the back bumper of Kurt Busch, but it's not going to be enough to get alongside him as we come out of turn 4. Kurt Busch will hold on for P13 as we're going to come through the trial to get 14th in this second stage, one spot worse than stage 1, so certainly a rough race, and we know that we're pretty much stuck with this car obviously for the final stage, so I wasn't the most excited. We would come to pit road to take 4 tires or 2 cans of fuel. We would have to do that as Clint Boyer did win the stage. We would go down to P28 because of having to take 4 tires because of the NASCAR heat AI logic as we get ready to start this final stage. Though the final stage is underway, the final 8 drivers are about to be decided who's going to compete for a chance to make the final 4 in the next episode. Now 25 laps till we meet that decision as we head down towards turns 1 from the 28th position. Now certainly not where we want to be, but we can definitely work our way forwards as we come through turns 1 and 2. This has just been one of those races for me. Every time we come to Kansas, it's just a poor race, and this one though in specific was a wake-up call for me, because I realized after this race that we certainly need to do something different next time we come to Kansas, and because we just can't be running subpar every time we come here. We need to be up there competing. We've never finished in the top 10 at this track, and we need to change that. I want to compete for a victory at this racetrack, which I've never had the chance to do, and we're going to try and make that happen next time we come here, because I got really tired of it, and this race is kind of like the decision point, and I was like, okay, we definitely need to try something different as we come down the back straightaway, pushing the 17 of Ricky Stenhouse Jr. as we go into turns 3. And he's going to lose a little bit of momentum as we're going to come up on his outside and make it 3 wide now as we come out of turn 4. Just about clearing him as we almost get into the wall, but we do clear Stenhouse, and David Reagan is on the bottom of him now as we work our way into the 23rd position with just 23 to go. So not many laps to go at all in this final stage. Certainly not one of the more lengthy final stages we've had now as we come through turns 1 and 2, closing in on Denny Hamlin, who was eliminated from the playoffs. We get a big run, and we make it 3 wide on the inside of him and Ryan Newman as we go down to turns 3. Ryan Newman's had a horrible season in our career mode. He has wrecked at least 10 times by now as we get very sideways as we come out of turn 4, but we make a big save, and as we came to lap 53, we had run down more cars, getting sideways again in P17 as we would try to get down behind this group of cars as Austin Dillon sticks his nose up my inside and we make contact, and we almost just get slammed into the outside wall, but once again we make a big save as we go into turns 1. We have certainly made some big saves in this race, way too many to keep my heart rate low now as we come out of turn 2, down the back straightaway behind Austin Dillon. We would end up getting a caution as we went down towards turns 3. And I could not find what brought it out, but we would obviously stay out of pit road and not come to make a pit stop. Kyle Busch would get ready to lead on the restart as the green flag was out once again, and this just left us with 11 laps to go in this race, sitting P18, so maybe a chance for us to get our way forwards as Martin Truex Jr., our rival here on the inside of Eric Almirola, just up ahead. A very odd restart right and around our area. Almirola is certainly looking like he might get eliminated from the playoffs if he can't pick it up now in these final few laps as we come down the back straightaway, sitting P17 as we head down towards turn 3, approaching just 10 laps to go now in the final race of the round of 12. 8 drivers will remain in the playoffs after these final 10 laps now as we jump up to the top, trying to make it work the best we can as we battle alongside our teammate of Almirola on a 3 wide. He backs out of the situation, not taking any risks as we come through to cross the line to complete the first lap since the restart now as we go down towards turns 1. Jimmy Johnson having a very poor day here in Kansas as we get sideways once again up towards the wall, but we managed to hang on to the car, and that certainly slowed my momentum quite considerably now as we come down the back straightaway going into turn 3. And I decided after we got really loose there, I was like, okay, I'm going to get back down to the bottom and settle down for a minute, but we overshoot a little bit going to the bottom line and lose the momentum again, allowing Jimmy Johnson to stay ahead of me. And as we come across the line, it is just now 9 laps to go. We would look to the inside of Jimmy Johnson as we went down towards turns 1. We would be able to get ahead of him, and we would be able to pass a couple more cars and actually work our way up into the 15th position by the time we were approaching just 2 laps to go in this race. Now, as you see, sitting P15 behind 14th place of Joey Logano, we got Eric Almirola and Chase Elliott battling behind me side by side as I had jumped up back to the top line, trying to get the momentum because our tires were really falling off at this point, and I felt like the outside outside might have been my only opportunity to hang on as we were approaching the final lap in this round of 12 elimination races. We come through turns 3 and turns 4. Chase Elliott closing in on me. He's in a must-win situation, and obviously it's not going to happen for him today, and I decided to just move out of his way and let him have the position because I have absolutely no speed to match what he is able to do right now as we go through turns 1 and 2 for the final time here in Kansas. Elliott, a guarantee to be eliminated here within the next 25 seconds of this final lap as we come down the back straightaway, and our teammate Almirola approaches us now as we head down towards turns 3 and turns 4 for the final time. We kind of overshoot a little bit, pushing up now as we come through the corner, and Almirola is going to get the run off as he looks to my inside. We're trying to at least hold on to the position, but it's not going to happen as he barely edges me out to get P16, and we drop to P17 right at the end. A really rough race for myself, and certainly a wake-up call, like I said earlier, that we need to change it up next time we come to this track because we can't be continuing to race like this. Kyle Busch did get the win. We can't afford to have a bad race like this right now because of our playoff situation. Obviously, we are into the round of 8 no matter what, and here is the playoff grid. Kyle Larson, Kurt Busch, Eric Almirola, and Chase Elliott are all eliminated. Both Ganassi cars that were in the playoffs have been eliminated. Ryan Blaney's the last car in. Truex barely squeezes in with Blaney. So it's certainly going to create an interesting round of 8 because myself, Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick, and Joey Logano, we're the big 4. And we're certainly probably going to have a good buffer over the cars behind now as we got some video messages here.
You made it to the round of 8. Great job.
Thank you, Austin Dillon. And then we got one from Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
You've made it to
No, thank you. And William Byron, he's certainly happy with us, and hopefully we keep making these other drivers happy here in this career mode other than Martin Truex Jr., who obviously does not like me at all. So hopefully we can maybe change that and get him away from being a rival, especially before the season is over, because if we make the Final Four and we have to deal with Martin Truex Jr., it's certainly going to make an interesting season finale for sure as we get ready to see the grid here going into the round of 8. There it is. So we are actually 16 points to the good. It says we're 3 to the good, but Truex is the first car out, 13 behind, so we're actually 16 to the good. So we're going to see how this final 8 drivers will shake out here in the next episode. The 4 guys that are out right now kind of have to win, so that's going to make it for a very dramatic round of 8 here to decide the Final 4. So I'm very excited for this round of the playoffs. We're going to see what we can do. And if you guys enjoyed this episode, make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. Those would all be very appreciated. I will see you guys in the next episode for Martinsville. Thank you for watching, everybody, and have a great day.